episode 221 of Global from Asia. We are still in Vietnam this week.
Welcome to the Global from Asia podcast, where the daunting process of running an international business is broken down into straight-up, actionable advice. And now, your host, Michael Michelini.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Aurelia Pay. I use them personally for sending money to my Chinese suppliers from Hong Kong. It's a cross-border payment solution between China, Hong Kong, and Southeast Asia. So when I need to make a payment to a Chinese supplier, I just hop online to place the remittance, pay to the Aurelia Pay's Hong Kong-based bank account, and Aurelia Pay will settle RMB within the same business day. So check them out online at www.aureliapay.com, AURELIAPAY.com, or check them out linked in our show notes. All right, yeah, we're in Vietnam again. This one's more deep into it. We are talking about some manufacturing and differences in buying from China, from Vietnam. It's pretty fascinating, and it's also our supplier for our Para Living Inc. Amazon business that we're doing in the e-commerce Gladiator series. If you are enjoying and tuning into that series on the same feed here. And before I jump into it, I don't know. Usually I'm not excited. I'm excited. It's my birthday yesterday as far as this podcast schedule, April 2nd. 37 years old, 1981. I'm a chicken. Year of the chicken. And my wife's always so good to me. We had a cake. We had a secret round table. We're trying these smaller, more intimate, private events here for high-level people, about 10 people. We were talking about some secret stuff. Actually, some stuff that might not let us stay in China. How about that? I don't know. Getting crazy over here. Experimenting with stuff, but that's what life's all about. So in this week's show, we are talking with Danny from Aqua Grow Greens, a supplier of our Amazon business. The product is already live on Amazon, and Roland and Kadrian and the team are doing great negotiating and making that happen. And I'm here doing what I love. I was in Vietnam, and I got to meet with Danny a couple of times, and we sat down. This is also a video interview. I'm trying to leverage the content we create here at Global from Asia, making video and audio versions. So this is the audio version. There was some references to pictures, so I will link to the video and also link to the Amazon listing so you can see that more closely. Also, he's not able to make it a cross-border summit, unfortunately. Of course, I'm heavily promoting that as it's coming up, but he's interested in a matchmaker in October, coming out to China. He's been here a few times. Danny's been over, he's 8 years now in Vietnam. He's an entrepreneur, business owner. And also thank you, Frederick, who's on last week's show from China Importal. He's the one that made this connection. He's a regular listener of this show and listening, hopefully, to this intro right now. So thank you, Frederick, for the intro, making the deal happen and coming on last week's show and sharing. But without more talk, let's get into the juicy stuff and interview with Danny talking about Vietnamese versus China manufacturing. Enjoy. Okay, greetings from Saigon, Vietnam. Thank you for tuning in to our Global from Asia video podcast as well as audio. We are here in a startup office with my new friend and supplier and partner, Denrick Simmons. Thanks for being here, Denrick.
Thank you.
Also known as Danny. So thanks for inviting me over today.
Absolutely. You're more than welcome.
It's been great. We're here in your office. We're going to show some of your products and talk about some of the stories. I know a lot of listeners have been always curious about the Vietnam manufacturing and tech and hardware, so I'm excited for today's show.
Okay.
So a little bit about your background. We talked before. You've been here about 8 years. Where originally you're from the Caribbean?
Yep.
So maybe you can give us a little intro.
Okay. I was born on Curacao. That's a Dutch island in the Caribbean. Then studied there. I was very good in chemistry, physics, and mathematics. The first thing that I wanted to become was a detective. Actually, I always wanted to. but there was some unfortunately at that moment a little bit some health was just 1 point below what was accepted. So I couldn't get in, but actually the school accepted me except for that health issue at that point. It's all good now, but then I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, so I went to the deacon and I basically asked, so what can I go study and earn the most money? And then I remember he saying, in your case, you can basically go study anything.
Cool.
So I did chemistry technology in Rotterdam. But very soon I realized I actually wanted to be in business. I didn't see myself working in the oil and stuff like that for the rest of my life. So that's where my passion for business started.
And then how'd you get to Vietnam?
So I had a friend. She was Vietnamese. I was pretty close. Then in that time, everyone, I'm talking 2005, 2006, and everyone was talking, Asia is booming.
Exactly.
Asia is booming. Asia is booming.
Me, yeah.
And I couldn't understand what that meant. But except for one thing. If Asia is booming, I need to be in Asia.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
So then I started doing my research, and I also speaking to my friend who is Vietnamese, and the numbers out of Vietnam were pretty awesome. It's like 6.9 growth, 7.3 growth. I'm thinking, maybe Vietnam is not there yet, but they can probably be there 10 to 20 years from now. So my vision told me, make sure you're in Vietnam before that happens.
Nice. Yeah, we're similar time. I mean, I came into China at the end of 07, so I was also tempted to go to Vietnam more. Everybody's saying that was really the next China, and it's been growing, and so it's awesome. You've been here this many years. It must. I mean, I was just here like last year, and there's already been so much progress. So it must have been a huge growth since you've been here for the 8 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Very fast.
Mm-hmm. So today we have your products here on the for those watching with Aqua Grow Greens is the brand, is your product. So congratulations! It's exciting. We're working together on the FBA business together to get this to the market, and I know our team's excited too. It's a really great design. I think that's what really stands out. Of course, the use case too, but I think. I would think if we talk about product design in Vietnam, I think there's a lot of talent here. I think we met one of your friends, another designer, the other day. Do you want to share with people about some of the design talent or experiences you've seen here?
Yeah, I think Vietnam is a country that it's all about learning. People really make an extra effort to get the chance to learn more. And I think that's one of the driving forces of the design capabilities in Vietnam. Cool. That's for sure. And they understand the importance of export. They understand the importance of having a product, and that design is the very beginning of that.
Of course, there's design, and then there's manufacturing, which of course complement each other but are different. So the manufacturing scene is something at least on Global from Asia we haven't talked about too much, and I know there's people that follow us that want more content and ideas about the manufacturing scene, and I'd love for you to share also what you've noticed with manufacturing here.
Okay, I think I've been a little bit lucky so far. Studying chemistry technology. So basically that was the engineering part of factories that produces or operates in the chemistry. So, and what I wanted to work when I started studying it was basically in the oil business. So refineries, big factories. So I do come with a certain understanding of engineering and design and production, and how a mold, how it works, what's important, why this can and why that can't. So combining that with my, I did my BBA in Rotterdam.
Okay.
So I'm able to combine my engineering background with my passion for business. And that's how I think I was lucky enough to come up with an idea and get together a team of good people, design a good product, and push that through all the way to manufacturing.
Very good. So maybe we can even use this as an example. I can pick it up?
Yeah.
So this is day 0 or day 1?
This is the second day.
Day 2. So we'll do some cut. Well, I'll put some video overlay, hopefully, if you're watching this, but because I don't want to tip it over. So this is the first product you've designed and manufactured, right?
Yeah.
So do you want to share a little bit about this?
Sure. So I've been in the lawn and gardening business for 7.5 years now.
And this is called aquaponics, right?
This is actually, I took my Dutch knowledge of hydroponics.
Okay.
And with my travelings in Japan,
Okay.
I got the idea and the design, and I combined those two together to design a product that is still based on hydroponics, but it's not complicated at all. I mean, anyone can use this product, even a 3-4-year-old kid.
Yeah.
So the seeds will lie inside of the tray that has a design factor to it at the bottom that allows it to grow, the roots to go through. And so here you can see that some roots are already starting to come through.
Wow.
And that's nature. That's nature. That's pure nature. It's not us doing anything great.
Amazing. And then we have a couple more demos here, or different days. So this one you said was day.
I think this is the second or third day.
Okay, so
Yeah.
for those listening, you can't see it. We'll put pictures on the notes, but they're starting to sprout more now. So, and it's purely just in the water, and it's growing roots. So I'm sure I can see roots already underneath.
Yeah.
Can I pull it up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's deeper roots that are going into the water to actually grow these sprouts, and then the third demo here, or third third scenario, this would be how many?
Third or fourth day.
Third or fourth day. So it's grown quite a lot, and you can see the roots are going very deep into the water, and it's sprouting up. So it's great. So I like it. Actually, I didn't know that story. So you took the Dutch. What's the story again? The Dutch.
Yeah, because I went to Holland quite a few times to learn about hydroponics.
Sure.
Working in that industry, but actually the idea came to me when I was traveling in Japan. So I combined those two together.
Very good.
Somehow to decide that it's time for me to start a company.
It's great. And then you back to the business part with the manufacturing. We were having a chat before today's show, and a lot of people think Vietnam is cheaper than China for manufacturing, and they think the labor is lower and the cost of living, but you're saying that there's different factors.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if I need to produce a very big quantity of this product in China, it might be cheaper. My issue with trying to work with China was that I had very little control on the raw material and very little control on the ownership of the mold.
It's true.
So if you take into consideration all of those factors, Vietnam is such a great country to manufacture in. It does help that I'm actually here.
Exactly.
So for me, that was important. Then, depending on what you're making, China has a lot of raw materials themselves, or they produce the raw material themselves, and for that reason, they can basically start manufacturing with a very low raw material cost. But for Vietnam, they still import quite a lot of raw materials. So unless you're ordering 20 containers in one go of a certain raw material, let's say plastic, it's going to cost you quite a lot to get an LCL shipment from China to Vietnam. So you start already on a higher manufacturing cost. So that's very important. But if you're using, for example, raw materials such as coconut coir, that can be cheap because Vietnam has a lot of coconuts, right?
Yep.
So depending on what you're producing, you might actually be better off in Vietnam.
Interesting. So, yeah, I mean, that was some kind of groundbreaking to me, because actually there's other, we call them digital nomads, or these internet business owners that live here in Saigon or in Vietnam. It's becoming a bigger and bigger hub for these. I think even listeners are more and more living here. So I've noticed most of them are still buying from China, even though they live in Vietnam. And they say it's still, they gave me a couple of reasons. So, of course, one, I think it's easier to mold. Of course, if it's an existing product, their molds already exist.
Right.
And they're probably already in China. So that's an obvious one, and they don't want to open a mold like you've done. And then a second is, it was an interesting one. He was, he's an Asian descent person. I won't say who he is, but he says that in China they don't care he's younger because he's a pretty young businessman. But he says in Vietnam, the factory owners didn't take him seriously because he was young or looked young, even though he's an experienced business owner with a lot of potential. He's selling a lot of product. So I don't know if you would agree with that. You think that
unfortunately, I kinda agree with him. Unfortunately, yes. I mean, I don't blame Vietnam because it's a new economy, right? So maybe having a long-term vision is not so important yet in Vietnam. In Vietnam, it's all about now. It's all about money now, and then the idea of working with a startup, co-investing in them, making sure they can get successful, work on a low market entry strategy with them, because if they are successful, most of them will remain loyal to that factory. So if you don't have that, which China does, because they have been the world factory for so many years already, if Vietnam can learn a little bit more that, it's not always about money now. Sometimes you need to think that your money now can stop, but you didn't invest in your money later opportunities. So I do, unfortunately, agree with him a little bit.
but that's even true in China about short-term. There's still a lot of this short-term money now. But he was saying he's in his 20s. He says purely thinks because they looked at him and they don't even, just by his look of young, they didn't take him serious. And,
because they think, I mean, how how can we know you're gonna be
I see,
buying a lot and
I see,
and for a long term. So
I see,
they won't take it's a little bit of a discrimination.
And
sadly.
Then I think it's a negative, but it's also maybe an opportunity, or it's a development, a room for growth or to change. A little bit. You mentioned about logistics. I think that's also a little bit more expensive in Vietnam. No.
I think. Well, to be honest, I cannot compare precisely with China because I haven't really been responsible for shipping anything out of China myself to say for sure.
Okay.
But what I do know is that Vietnam has one of the shortest shipping lines between Asia and, for example, Long Beach in US, which is one of the hot spots in shipping for into the United States market. And if you think about shipping to Europe, again, Vietnam is so much closer to, for example, the Suez Canal, to travel to that and go into Rotterdam, for example.
Right.
So logistic cost from Vietnam is very competitive in the market. Very, very competitive. It can change the price to a couple of dollars at retail level.
Wow.
By shipping out of Vietnam.
Okay, interesting. And so what do you think are the main advantages in Vietnam then? I mean, I think that seems like an advantage I didn't even expect. The logistics, can we list out, or I know we've kind of been talking about it in the interview, but
yeah, I think another advantage of Vietnam still, and I hope they don't mismanage it. And of course, everyone wants to earn more. I do understand, but it's also important to understand that a low labor cost makes a difference in allowing a community to actually thrive together. So far, the labor costs in Vietnam are still, very, very good. I'm not against people earning more money. I do think everyone should earn more money. Yes, but if food and rent and electricity and all those things, if they don't go up in a crazy manner, and if there's not a high inflation, labor cost is a low labor cost is actually really good for Vietnam.
It's totally true. Yeah. Well, nobody likes high cost of living, especially if it's going to rent or to, basic commodity type things. So hopefully, I know in the Philippines, electricity is crazy expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a massive cost. I've had some businesses with offices there, and the costs are crazy for air conditioning and things like that. So hopefully, I agree. Hopefully it can stay reasonable for the economy.
Vietnam exports crazy amount of cashew, good amount of rice, pepper. All those things are commodities. So if labor costs go high, it also means that your rice price or your cashew price is going to be as high as any other country that's exporting the same commodity. And then what happens? You lose the advantage, right? That's a very, very good reason for FDIs to come and look into Vietnam. Okay. You can really get things done here.
Sure. So just for those that aren't familiar, FDI is foreign direct investment, right? So people to invest in Vietnam and set up a company here, offices, buying product.
Yeah.
So I should have asked earlier, but it's coming to my mind. You said bamboo material, or what would be some good materials that would be really a good using it Vietnam's raw materials.
Raw materials, right? So a lot of natural materials like, of course, bamboo, rattan. I think Vietnam has a big supply of those type of raw material. But Vietnam is also doing a very good job in, for example, textile. So there's quite a big supply of that raw material in Vietnam.
Okay.
And I might need a couple of minutes to think about a few more, but don't count Vietnam out for high technology. Chips, processors. If you count those as it's not a raw material, but it's a big part in allowing, for example, big companies to make mobile phones or laptops. So if you're looking for products that you're combining electronic with, let's say, plastic, rubber, some silicone, or anything else, Vietnam is a great place for those type of manufacturing. as well. No joke.
Okay, great. Thanks for these insights. And maybe a little. We're getting towards the end. I kind of covered a lot of my major topics. So what's your future plans for your business for?
Yeah, so we are working on a second product at the moment. Aqua Grow Greens, and our brand is mainly Vita Hero. It stands for vitamin and hero. Vita Hero, but you write HIRO.
Okay.
Instead of HERO.
Got it.
Kind of Vita Hero, but it's Vita Hero.
Is that Japanese, Hiro?
It's I kind of wanted that feeling.
Japanese feeling.
Yeah, because I got the idea when I was in Japan, so I kind of wanted to stay a little bit true to where I come from, not personally, but the company, the idea for the company. The second product is it's also a tool that allows anyone to grow their own. That's the coffee machine.
Yeah. Vietnam is really famous for coffee, so it's local coffee being made.
Great coffee here. Come and buy coffee from Vietnam.
Yeah, that's another big one. Is cold coffee it's even more popular than hot coffee, I feel. Iced coffee.
Café Shirada.
Okay, I think it's done.
So our second product is it's the same tool that allows people to grow their own microgreens, but it's gonna have an elevated look to it. This is already a nice design. It's a little bit fashionable. A lot of thought went into this design to allow people to single-handed operate the product while changing the water, and to allow you to cut as much green as possible and as little waste. The second product will use glass and stainless steel, which is a little bit more elevated. It's more fancy, very fancy and classy look. But now already we started working on what I call a living painting. It's a product that it's gonna be, maybe as big as 6 cartons, and it's fully automated. So you just add water and you add some nutrients to the water, and then you turn it on, and it's gonna do all the water movement and everything that you need, so that you will hydroponically grow your own vegetables and herbs on the wall.
I see.
So nice. Basically you just hang it in your kitchen, because it will come with an LED light, a very, very high-tech LED light that, there will be some timer, and it's going to be linked to an application on your phone. So let's say you travel for business. So you can decide through your app when you want to turn off the light, when you want to turn on the light, or you can put a timer, let's say 8-hour light, and the rest, the light is off for when you're traveling. So that's what we started working on right now.
Exciting times. Yeah, I mean, I think of course we're excited. Our startup, Para Living, with Amazon, Roland and Kedrian and Mayor. Also, I don't think you've talked to everyone, but we're all very excited to see this and getting it to the market. So thanks. I'm so happy we got to do this while I was in town and meet and see everything. And I think that's about it. Do you have anything else you'd like to share with the listeners?
Well,
here we go.
You can take one. Take a long one, and then. Yeah, it's okay. Just eat the top.
Just the top. Okay.
It's a little bit young, but I don't think you will hate the taste. I think it's gonna be pretty cool.
Okay, let's do it. Oh, yeah, it's good. It's strong.
You're very strong.
Very strong taste. So yeah, just for those watching, we're eating the actual sprout, one of the sprouts that's been grown. So it's good. Make some salad. Maybe that's
exactly
my lunch today.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, Danny, thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Cheers. Thank you so much, Danny. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Again, we were sometimes referencing it, looking at this and talking about the product a little bit because this was done on video. And I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know Dan Andrews at Tropical MBAs. I had learned a lot from him, and he said, audio is, you can get deeper and you're not as self-conscious because the camera's on you. And I kind of believe that. I hope this sounded the same, because when there's a camera looking at you, you're worried about your makeup and do I look fat or not? Whereas if you're just doing audio, I could be in my pajamas, which I'm about to get in my pajamas. I'm not recording this outro in my pajamas, but how do you know that? You're not watching me, you're just listening to me. So I actually do enjoy the audio more, but my wife is saying Chinese people like video, and and everybody's talking about YouTube and all this stuff. So we're trying to leverage where we can. Frederick last week was audio only at the Hive co-working space, but this time we were video and audio. Also do transcriptions. Rhea is listening to this, transcribing this podcast. Thank you, Rhea. I really appreciate you and everyone else on our team. And I will shout out again, Cross Border Summit 2018. Although when this show goes live, prices will have just gone up into the early April pricing. We have to do it because, you guys are always saying, I'm going to come later, and you just don't book your tickets till the day before. So unfortunately, all this marketing stuff I learned has to push the price up. But the sooner somebody gets in, the more they should be rewarded, right? So I do hope to catch you guys there. There's amazing people. It's really getting more and more amazing. We have people from all around the world. I mean, seriously, like Africa, South America, and Mexico, of course, America, Europe, Philippines, all over Southeast Asia, of course, inside China, some amazing people coming. And this, like Danny McMillan was saying, he's giving me some tips on marketing. He's a pro. He's like, you got to talk about rubbing shoulders. Of course, you can be listening to this podcast and driving a car, and maybe you're in your pajamas too, or laying in bed, or riding a bike, or I know some listeners I've talked to are walking the dog. But, these events, you'll learn too, but you'll also network like crazy. And we're trying our best to make more and more deals and more opportunities and more things for you guys to get involved with. But I will leave it at that. I am getting less and less shy to ask for help, but even online pass would be appreciated, or sending this to your friends on social media, giving us some links always helps too. That's all I got. I'm going to go finish some birthday cake. Maybe there's enough of it for a couple of days. Cheers, guys. Enjoy. Episode 221. Over and out.
To get more info about running an international business, please visit our website at www.globalfromasia.com. That's www.globalfromasia.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our iTunes feed. Thanks for tuning in.